Your case value is going to depend on your unique circumstances, but I want to walk you through some factors you can think through in terms of trying to understand what you're going to get. The first is going to be out-of-pocket costs associated with the fraud you experienced. So for example, if the fraud involved a non-disclosed condition in the purchase or sale of real estate, and you've already spent money trying to repair that, then you should go look through the receipts and add that all up. You can add up what you've already spent, and that's going to be included. Another thing that comes up is estimated costs for future repairs. To the extent that you're capable of estimating that repair cost, that's worth doing. In fact, one of the things we do when we help you develop your case is we help you get those estimates. For example, if there's a roof that needs to be repaired, that can cost easily, $20,000 or more depending on the house. On top of that, you have issues related to value of property. What would the property be worth if it was the way it should have been? And what's it actually worth due to the fraud? One way to measure that is you can actually hire an appraiser to do it for you, and sometimes as litigation progresses, we do that. But another thing that's often worth doing is trying to come up with your own estimate. As the owner, you bought the property and typically are going to have a pretty good idea of what it should be worth and what it's actually worth. Another thing that's worth looking at is diminished use value of your property. Meaning, if there's something wrong with the property that prevents you from using it, or even prevents you from fully using it, then on top of everything we've discussed, there's also going to be elements of monthly damages based on how long you've been there and how long you're going to need to stay there, and what the use value is. And often, relatively minor defects are enough to render a property unrentable and bring the reasonable rental value of the property in its damaged condition to zero. Which means you can multiply the number of months you've been living there and the number of months you expect to live there before you can get the property fixed by what it ought to rent for if it were in good condition, and that becomes an element of your damages. So let me give you an example of that. Say you buy a house with an undisclosed roof leak, and that roof leak is bad enough that the house would be an unrentable condition, and frankly, most of them are. If you bought your house for, say, around $700,000, it's probably one that would reasonably rent for $4,000 a month. But with the roof leak that renders it unrentable, the rental price of the property in its damaged condition is zero. That means you've got a delta of $4,000 a month. Now, if you've already been there for 3 months and you think it'll take another 3 months to get that repaired, that's going to be an additional $24,000 worth of damages you're going to have. In addition, if the property we're dealing with happens to be your home, you're going to be entitled to compensation for mental and emotional distress. It's going to be up to you to determine that, and it's going to depend on how severe your condition is. But I would say you could very conservatively estimate $10,000 to $20,000 if you have a serious problem. If it's something that truly keeps you up at night, then that would be a conservative estimate.